The classic member of the Mercedes Benz heavy truck range represents reasonable sufficiency. The AXOR model range covers cars with a gross weight of 18 to 26 tons, partially covers both the more modest AXOR range and the flagship AXOR. New Turkish-made tractors with 354 and 401 horsepower engines are delivered to Russia. The most sought-after used models are dominated by saddles and chassis with 401 and 428 horsepower engines. The universal car was developed in parallel by two independent divisions of Mercedes-Benz in Turkey and Brazil. But production was also established in Germany, where AXOR debuted in 2001. At first, he remained a dark horse for Russian carriers, and also quite expensive. And until in 2003 a budget employee appeared in a modest configuration, there was no demand for it in Russia. The situation did not level off even with the appearance on the market of a special offer, a dump truck with an optimal set of options. But the situation was partially saved by the shortage of imported trucks and the construction boom that gained momentum. Still, sales of new AXOR cars in Russia through official dealers are more than modest: 10 units in 2003, 22 in 2004, 90 in 2005. For the last 2 years, the statistics are generally consolidated: 188 and 377 units in 2006 and 2007, respectively, taking into account AXOR and AXOR. But for used trucks, the picture is different. Both the first and second generation models are in demand among carriers, and second-hand sales are many times greater than brand new cars. Practice has shown that the Model 1835 with a 12-liter 354 horsepower engine, a 9-speed manual gearbox and a low cab is not particularly loved by carriers. Yes, it has an acceptable price, €74,000, but a year ago such a car cost only €69,000. Transport workers working with curtains, isotherms, furniture vans, and refrigerators are satisfied with the saddle height of 1,150 or 1,170 millimeters. Truckers pulling fuel trucks choose the height of the SSU equals 1,180 millimeters, and those who have barrels in the couplers stop at the highest saddle, 2,000 millimeters. But those who worked on the more spacious Mercedes-Benz AXOR or on flagships of other companies similar in class note the insufficient capacity of the low L-type cab with one berth. It's tight for drivers, and the 9-speed transmission is not the best choice. But what to do if such a complete set is approved? However, the state employees are different for state employees. At a price of €82,000, domestic carriers are offered AXOR 1840 with a double cab L with the high roof. The car is equipped with a 12-liter engine with a return of 401 horsepower and 16-speed mechanics like the AXOR. The most popular saddle height on these machines is 1,100 millimeters, which is due to the specifics of container transportation. By the way, the saddle itself can be moved from the drive axle to the cab at a distance of 340 to 840 millimeters. At the same time, the interval for changing the position of the SSU is 50 millimeters, which is very convenient. Both objectively and subjectively, the Mercedes-Benz AXOR has many advantages. This also applies to the famous Mercedes reliability and German practicality, even though the development is, in fact, Turkish. The AXORovskaya cab is 200 millimeters narrower than the AXORovskaya one, but this, according to truckers, is not critical. But they can't stand the single sleeping cab L with a low roof. They can't get dressed or changed, especially when it's raining or frosty outside and you don't want to leave the warm nest for any gingerbread. Therefore, transport workers without talking lay out €2,000 for a double cabin L with a high roof. The entrance to it is convenient, but due to the cap above the windshield there are compartments and shelves for personal items. The cab has a solid 2-point suspension. Large silent blocks hold it in front with a tenacious grip, and powerful spring struts with shock absorbers in the back. Perhaps this is a less comfortable option compared to the 4-point suspension, but more durable. And reliability in operation is one of the most important parameters. By the way, about reliability, the AXOR design uses the same axles as the AXOR single, with the high-point final drive. They have an invaluable mechanical differential lock for the Russian Federation, activated by an electro-pneumatic actuator. The advantage of the car is a gearbox with a tunnel crankcase. It is really reliable, and claims to it do not arise either during the warranty period or during the post-warranty service period. I have not heard any complaints from any of the carriers about the single-plate diaphragm clutch with a diameter of 430 millimeters with automatic gap compensation. It it works flawlessly, like a Swiss watch. The advantage of budget versions can be considered that they use one of the most powerful and, of course, hardy engines with a working volume of 12 liters. Exactly the same motors are installed on Mercedes Benz buses, including Turkish-assembled Travago models and Setra buses of various classes. By the way, they do not have an oil dipstick. To find out the oil level in the engine, just call up the information on the onboard computer display. Simple and convenient, no rags or dirty hands for you. It is also difficult to get your hands dirty when changing the spare wheel, since it is covered with a leatherette casing. And a good driver always has a pair of gloves. The AXOR has front leaf spring and rear air suspension, for which there are no significant complaints. The air-operated disc brakes with ABS work efficiently, without fail, and provide reliable deceleration from any speed. Finally, an important advantage of AXOR is a moderate amount of onboard electronics. It is less than an Actros, and for Russian conditions this is just what you need. The standard fuel tank with a volume of 610 liters installed on the right is often asked to be replaced by carriers or independently changed to a 650-liter, also aluminum. On the left, some mount another one, with a slightly smaller volume, 550 liters. Together, we get an impressive supply, with which it is not scary to go to any wilderness. The service interval declared by the manufacturer is 80,000 kilometers. However, this still does not mean anything, especially for cars of the first generation and representatives of the second, but with high mileage. And now about what AXOR is scolded for or what Russian truckers would like to change in it. Builders complain that there is no 4-axle in the model range, because you cannot put a capacious dump body or a large-capacity concrete mixer on a 3-axle chassis. Turk is generally ready to take dump platforms designed only for trucks with a 4x4 and 6x4 wheel arrangement. Some carriers are frightened by the thin spars of the AXOR truck tractor, only 7.5 millimeters thick. For comparison, on the budget Scania Griffin, their thickness reaches 9.5 millimeters, suppliers reassure. Firstly, the car has a large profile height of the spars, 280 millimeters. Secondly, the width of the shelves is rather big, 80 millimeters. Thirdly, a special steel is used with the characteristics of high mechanical strength in fracture, bending and torsion. It remains to believe in the word, especially since it is very difficult to judge from the experience of operating several hundred machines, especially when no one has generalized it, since everyone is brewing in their own juice. A serious minus of the Turkish subject is the lack of liquid autonomy. It is clear that in hot Turkey, heaters are needed like a headset for hair, but we are not in Turkey. There is practically nothing to warm up the engine before starting in severe frosts. Well, do not climb under the car with a blowtorch and do not heat the engine crankcase, as on domestic trucks. It remains to be hoped for climate mitigation, global warming and the reliability of a regular 220 ampere-hour battery. Perhaps it will not let you down. But even this is a trifle compared to how the fuel injection system reacts to the quality of diesel fuel in some parts of the country. She does not tolerate the presence of water and dirt in diesel fuel and is naughty with the high sulfur content. What do you want? But even in such conditions, the system provides the engine with fuel for 3 years or 400,000 kilometers. And if the diesel fuel were cleaner, it would work flawlessly for longer. Volkswagen's found a way out here too. They put an additional sump filter. By the way, the plant does not mount SEPA filters that are well known to all Russian truckers, but racer filters that are unusual for our ears. However, as the carriers joke, this does not affect the speed. Moreover, these cleaners are also equipped with electric heating and a water sensor. Some carriers note minor problems with axle seals. They leak ahead of the prescribed wear period. Solution: monitor the condition and carry spares with you just in case. There are claims to the generator, the bearing wedges. Solution: install a more powerful one at 100A instead of the standard 80 ampere one. Another ambush: the bracket for the air conditioning compressor breaks. There is only one way out: replacement. Minus the car, some constructive solutions. For example, on a longitudinal rod, only one tip is removable, the rear one, and the front one is non-removable. Therefore, if the front flew, you will have to change the entire part. From the point of view of service, it is convenient, you spend less time on work, it is profitable for the dealer, you sell more spare parts, only the owner of the vehicle loses, costs are higher. However, AXOR is not the only truck where such technical solutions are used. On cars, Volvo trucks and other Europeans, the same feature. The budgetary nature also determined the limited choice of gear ratios of the main gear. There are only two of them, 2.38 and 3.08. Based on this, the carrier is not always able to choose what is best for the specifics of its delivery of goods. As a result, on roads with difficult terrain, in mountainous areas, AXOR's fuel consumption will be slightly higher than that of a similar non-budget counterpart with an optimally selected final drive number. So, cheap doesn't always mean angry. Truckers don't like the very small toolbox in the left fender of the car. Not that the Russian soul required space to hide a box of vodka, but you really can't put anything there. Remember homemade welded coffins on domestic machines the size of a grandmother's chest, and you will understand that such a closet is by no means a whim. On a long journey, you may need anything, and to the nearest service, perhaps a day's journey, or even more. Surprisingly, the right wing is generally empty. Somehow the space is being misused. Under the lower bunk, the drivers have a traditional stash cover. AXOR also has it, but without access from the street. This is a defect of the designers, because the same Scania New Griffin has it. And if this seems like nonsense to someone, a far-fetched problem, then I will advise you to try the convenience of constant diving under the shelf and entering and exiting the cabin from personal experience. Let's see how soon your patience will burst.